3-month campaign and she was supposed to introduce herself to the American people. No wonder people were Googling, did Joe Biden drop out? And so...
No. You saying 3 months wasn't long enough?
I mean...
8 months on, some people still haven't come to terms with Kamala Harris's epic political downfall. The denial is almost admirable, like they truly believed she was America's last great hope, not one of its most disappointing flops.
We don't know in Britain, for instance, when you have a short election, it's not like you don't know who the leader of the party is for months and years before that.
But you're either the person who's Googling the day before, did Biden drop out, or you know in a week. You know, did anyone in this audience not know enough about Kamala Harris pretty much after?
Been 8 months since the election, yet the blame is being pinned on everyone except Kamala herself. Enter Bill Maher, who isn't buying the victim act, when a couple of delusional Democrats tried defending her on his show. He lit them up.
The candidates, especially the Democrats, do to get voters annoys them. The constant texting. Did you get the texts like from Tim Walz every 5 minutes and like always begging for money and knocking on doors? And we've got people knocking on doors. You don't want knocking on your door. Who in this day and age wants someone knocking on? Kids don't even like it when if you a phone call. That's like too much of a invasion of.
Bill Maher broke down exactly why voters found Kamala Harris so unlikable, and he was spot on. Instead of offering a clear message, Democrats served up performative politics, guilt trips, and identity gimmicks, with substance nowhere to be found.
Done anything yet, but I understand the.
This was the problem. You know, there was a 2014 study that showed that Fortune 500 companies were more likely to pick a female CEO if the company was struggling, basically setting women up for the big job, but to also fail. If they did well, fine. But if they failed, like, look, we have a female CEO while failing. And that's what I feel like they did to Kamala Harris. When Biden refused to step aside and not run again, he was supposed to be that bridge. He backed off on that promise due to arrogance. And then he drops out after a catastrophic debate performance, and they set Kamala Harris up.
The absurdity hit its peak when Sarah Issa claimed Kamala was simply thrown in to replace Biden, like she hadn't already spent for underwhelming years, as Vice President Maher wasn't having it. Voters didn't forget Kamala. They rejected her.
You saying 3 months wasn't long enough?
I mean,
it was too long.
It was long enough.
It was long enough.
if they had a primary,
it's not that they didn't have time to introduce. They met someone and didn't like them.
if they had a primary, they wouldn't have picked her. And if they had,
That's
she would have been able
different.
to
Yes.
rough out those edges that then she basically has to start from scratch with a campaign team she didn't hire that didn't like her, right? It was his team. And so I wonder if that next Democratic person, maybe someone's not even on our radar yet. Because frankly, when you look at the history of who's, there's two types. The one who waited in line, who is next in line, and then there's the one who comes out. That's Obama, that's Clinton, that's Reagan.
Sarah Isgur is still clinging to the martyr fantasy that Kamala was just a scapegoat in a doomed campaign. Please, she enjoyed one of the smoothest, most coddled rides in modern political history. The problem wasn't her identity, was the party's tone-deaf, woke messaging.
With Sarah about this one thing. If you're the sitting vice president for a president who has, throughout his entire term in office, been sitting at about somewhere between a 35 and 40% approval rating. People view the Biden administration as a failure. We can have a long discussion about whether they are right about that, about the economy, but the perceptions of the economy were that people thought inflation was too high, people thought we were on the wrong track, 75% wrong track numbers, and this huge inflation overhang. You're the sitting vice president, and you get put on elevated to the top of the ticket 107 days ahead of the election. I think that is a very high degree of difficulty put on anybody. And I do not think she is the perfect candidate. I tend to agree with Sarah that probably in a fully litigated primary, she probably would not have been the Democratic nominee, but we don't.
Then John Heilman strolls in with a fresh excuse. The economy was just too broken for Kamala to win. Really? This from the same crowd that insisted inflation was transitory and grocery prices were just fine. Even Maher looked disgusted.
Never been anybody who's had the difficulty of that situation, elevated that late in the campaign.
A
Why?
Democrat would have needed to run away from
Bill, I don't know
the
if you
Biden
know this, but the Vice
administration.
President of the United States is
How are you
basically
supposed to do
shoved in a broom closet for 3.5 years.
I know.
Like, you couldn't.
She was more popular in there.
Yes, well,
I mean, there's this idea that in a mass media age, that 107 days
Is not long enough to know somebody.
you are
It's
way overestimating the American people in terms of what their
No,
ability.
no.
You have someone like Donald Trump has become a universally known, understood, loved by some, hated by others over the course of being omnipresent
Yeah.
for 8
Decades.
years.
Okay.
Well, no, before that.
Barack Obama becomes president of the United States after running for 2 years as president, runs a 50-state primary, is on television, does dozens of Democratic.
Let's be clear. Kamala Harris wasn't sidelined. She was handed real responsibilities, like the border crisis, and she blew it. She avoided the actual border, skipped high-profile interviews, and when she did speak, delivered nothing but nervous laughter and word salads.
Watch this show, but I had Michael Douglas on this week.
at the top.
We were talking about this, and he made a very good point that every other country in the world can do it in months, sometimes weeks. Why can every other country do it in that short a period of time? Are they all that so much brighter than America? I don't think so.
Well,
Mostly parliamentary. I mean, there's like literal reasons, right? We don't have a parliamentary system.
I mean,
We also have a First Amendment.
You-
We don't make people campaign this whole time. The American people want to give them $20, and so they can afford it. I mean, small dollar donors are arguably the worst thing that's happened to our politics, as it turned out.
It's a small dollar donor didn't make $20 billion.
Kamala started with momentum, media hype, and historic firsts. But her message was all woke, no warmth. While families battled inflation, she served up lectures. Trump, love him or hate him, talked about the economy and security. He had a message. She had vibes.
the person who's Googling the day before, did Biden drop out? Or, in a week. Did anyone in this audience not know enough about Kamala Harris pretty much after a week to make a decision? Yeah, people. And
How
it's
are you gonna
ridiculous.
enforce
We just get sicker of them.
What? So
How are you going to tell people
they
they
say
can't
the
talk
same
about
stupid-
politics?
What?
How with free speech that I know you love?
Yeah,
How are you going to limit people's ability to run for office?
I'm not limiting. We're not making a law.
Bill, are you?
Somehow
Of course.
Are you
money
trying-
involved
Get
in
rid of
politics.
super PACs by making it
Oh.
no limits, full disclosure, 24-hour disclosure.
We could
should
fix
have
democracy
instant
in a minute. Get rid of gerrymandering. Get rid of money in politics.
Wait, get rid of it. You're not
Get rid of
gonna
the
get rid of
electoral
it. It's
college.
water.
No, none of that is. We're going to keep working with this constipated system that.
Maher dropped the truth. Voters size you up in 60 seconds. Trump had Make America Great Again, memorable and effective. Name one slogan from Kamala that stuck. Exactly. Her campaign was bland, muddled, and forgettable.